do on AR app development using Unity. Yesterday, we had finished setting up Unity for AR development, right? We installed two main packages, AR Foundation and Google Core AR XR plugin, or the AR Kit XR plugin for iOS platform, right? So today we will be actually making the game. So the goal is to finish both the games by 8:30. So say 25 minutes per app, right? And it should not take more than that. So the main idea is that I'll give you the steps, I'll show you, you can try to follow along with me, right? And we will be using assets and packages which are predefined. I have shared the link of both the courses. Let me just share my screen again so that you can see, because we have just 2 more days on this course and we want to cover XR interaction toolkit, like general AR VR development of using the OpenXR package, and one is specific to Meta devices which uses Meta SDK. And so it will be 1 day each, and we want to cover setting up and configuring Unity for each kind of development, then doing a simple project, so that from there on you guys can work on your own without any uh, trouble, right? So this is, let me just share this link. So one is this course, the link is there. I'll just paste it here in your chat. We will do it the second project today. We'll be putting AR face filters. Everything is directly like just following the steps from here. I'll show you in a much quicker way, but everything is there in this project. Okay. And the other project that we will be doing first is this creating a AR game that I showed a video yesterday. I'm again pasting the link in your chat, WhatsApp chat. Okay. So let me quickly just show the video first, what we will be making, just to, yeah. So this is the game that we're making. So basically, we have to use the augmented AR core functionalities to detect a plane, and it should be only horizontal plane. Then on top of it, put this marker, and there is a car prefab which follows the marker, and we have to uh, randomly pop up these packages, just like randomly spawning animals that we did in the second unit, right? So more or less everything is similar, but just that we want to use the plane that got detected. So the main part is the plane detection and doing the raycast hit. So raycasting is a inbuilt feature of Unity which enables sort of all kind of interactions. So raycasting is nothing but just throwing a virtual line, creating a virtual line from starting from your camera and going in the direction straight ahead of the camera. So whatever is in the way, if it hits, you can get that object and maybe do something with that. Okay, then we will add control marker and targets and we'll drive the car. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay. So hope you are seeing my screen. Just keep writing in chat or just speaking, right? For some sort of feedback. So this is the project that we did yesterday. We could see this sphere or the capsule or whatever you put along with the camera stream, right? And this object remains in space as it is without moving. We can move around this object and it remains as is. Okay. So we will be using the same scene. Let me just put this thing on the other screen. Okay. Right. So we will be using the same scene on the same project to build it. So what I'm going to do is either I can delete this sphere and add all the things over here, but just to make it say more clean, I am creating a new scene. I'll just call it, I'll select the scenes folder. I'll call file name. Why it is loading a scene? I need to create a new scene. Yeah. Standard URP. I'll create that, and I will then configure this new scene for again for AR Foundation. So I have the packages installed, but this current scene is not configured for AR, right? Because it is using the default camera. But in AR, I want to use the device's camera, whether it is going to be your tablet or your smartphone, or maybe you can actually deploy it directly on your Meta Quest or any headset, which is Android based, because for me, I'm doing the project for Android platform. So in my build settings, my platform is Android. I have already uh, switched the platform once I made the project when it was a new project. So now I can just directly deploy. Okay. So one more thing, I need to correct my phone. is not corrected right now. Just give me a second. And before that, I need to enable the developer settings. Maybe I can do it later as well. Okay, so this is my project ready with all the packages installed. So I'll just quickly go through the package manager so that people who were not there yesterday, they can have a look. So I have these two packages in project. The main two packages, okay, it is slow as usual. AR Foundation, this package, and the other package is Google XR Core plugin. Google AR Core XR plugin. These two are mainly required. So I've created a new scene. I'll delete this camera. I will then just add XR AR session. AR session is responsible for managing the AR experience on the device. So it is basically just start the AR session, start all the backend services, which we do not have to worry about. Just add this in the scene. Then I'll add a camera, which is like the XR origin, or you can call it XR rig. So basically, this is my player. This is my phone. When I move around, this thing will take care of all of that. And the main thing is that the main camera should be tagged as main camera. And one more thing I figured out, let me switch it to default, because this way it is more easier for me to show you guys what I'm doing, right? And we will be working on this scene only. I can see everything over here, right? Okay, this is my hierarchy. I have all everything over here. So let's just give it a name. Save scene as, let's call it select scenes. And this is my VKS classwork, and this is the AR car game. AR car. Okay, let's save it. Now it will if I deploy it right now, it will overwrite the app that we made yesterday, the sphere and the camp, in just a sphere in overlaying or floating in the air. So for that, what I have to do is I'll just go to build settings, then player settings, and just change my product name, car face filter. So let me just make it car classwork. Now this thing will be a different identifier. I don't think so. Let me change the version as well in case it doesn't work. Let's make it 2.0. So in case it overwrites, but it will still overwrite because package name is same. Okay, we will see. Even I'm not sure. Okay, because the app comes with this name, and if the package name is same, it will overwrite. So what I can do is just do it car. That's it. Yeah, then just control S, or even if you don't do that, it will save. And I don't want to build this scene now. I have a new scene, so I'll do add open scenes, remove this scene, and just leave it as it is, right? So now what I can do is I can quickly uh, add some of the packages. Basically, if you deploy it right now, you should see the background being rendered, right? That's it. If you go here, you will see your camera stream, and if you see the camera stream, that means your configuration is correct. Okay, so now next what we want to do is we want to add a AR plane manager. So we want to detect uh, say planes in my scene, right? In my real world, if there is a flat surface like a wall or a floor, I need to detect that, and all of that is provided by AR plane manager. So let's just quickly look at AR plane manager. Okay, so AR plane manager, if I click on this, it will take me to, so I'm following this documentation. The previous two steps were setting of the environment, they are already done. Right now we are at this step, and the AR plane manager, like what all features or what all functionality we want to get it from there, all of them are provided by AR plane manager. We need not to worry about how I'm going to detect the plane, what is happening at the back end. That is all being taken care of by AR Foundation and with this package. So if you want to, okay, yeah. So this is the AR plane manager. So you can detect the plane, get or set the detection mode of the plane, right? And you can get the plane. So basically, anything which keeps like you can say like images or specific features, planes, and objects in your real world are kind of trackables for your AR foundations. And we are in the 5.1.5. So let's make sure you are checking out this documentation. Okay, so I'll just put this in the chat so that you can go through it. Okay, so basically it can detect any plane surface like vertical, horizontal, or any kind of angular plane as well. But we will be selecting only horizontal plane for this particular use case, and then I can spawn or put some prefabs or game objects on the detected plane. Okay, So current detection mode. Then there are plane prefab. So this is the what kind of prefab you want to place on the plane once it get detected. So it is just like kind of a texture or a material or just a prefab that you make. So in the example, if you remember yesterday, what we did was a this kind of sandy material or sand texture that you see. This is the plane prefab in our case. Okay, and it is getting overlaid whenever the plane is stable enough. Okay, so it has multiple features. Everything you can think of, everything will be provided by this, right? So let's go back. So in our project, what I want to do is I want to create a empty game object, which is going to be my say the driving surface manager, or basically responsible for creating the detecting the plane and then but putting the texture on top of it, and so that my car can drive on that. So I'll create an empty game object. Let this call it driving surface manager, right? And on this, what I want to add is AR plane manager. So basically, I can just go to AR plane manager. I'll add this. So it is already attaching this particular script. So if you want to just double click on this, see it is part of the AR Foundation package, and let the script open up. Yes, I trust the authors. Okay, so now this is the script, right? And you can go through it to understand how it is enabling or how it is providing this functionality to detect the planes and then provide it as a usable component for the developers. Okay, so now once I have added in this driving surface manager, I have added this. So what I can do is, okay, let me just undo why this thing got attached on its own. So if I just select AirPlane Manager, okay, yeah. So this AirPlane Manager requires a reference to the XR origin. So by default, it is adding this component to this game object. Right, so because you can see it is even in this particular AR Foundation namespace, if you are attaching this class called AR Play Manager, which is in our case is just a script that I want to attach, it says required component type of XR origin. So basically, if you are attaching this component, so either it should already have XR origin or it will attach this component of type XR origin, which is basically a script. That's why it got attached here, right? So next, what we want to do is we want to configure the AR plane manager, basically attach the plane prefab. So what we can go to the this button to just select for uh, driving surface plane, which is will this is in the scene window. I will go to assets. So it is basically selecting the asset from my assets folder and dragging and dropping onto here. So I can either drag and drop or I can directly select it from here. Select assets and do it driving surface. Why it is not taking it? Okay, yeah, so sorry. I have to first of all add the assets. So basically, I have shared the assets yesterday, so I have to add those assets. I'll go to assets because all of these components, the prefabs, the car prefab, the package prefab, are a part of a package which comes with the course, or we can make on our own as well. So I'll just go to assets, import custom package, and the asset is going to be in not here. It is, yeah, code lab starter package. So I'll just import this package, then I should be able to CC. It should contain this prefab, driving surface plane prefab. This is what we're looking for. It is part of this package, right? So I'll just click all should be selected. I'll import. If you are doing it with me, then please let me know if you get stuck anywhere. We can give some small time to fixing your issues, or because like anyway you are going to figure it out sooner or later. Did Roshan join? His app worked or not? Okay.
Since Roshan is actually he has to travel all the way to his home.
Okay, okay. So he's in Bangalore, no? Then I
No,
can
no,
help
no,
him over here.
no,
Okay.
not in Bangalore.
Then where? Somewhere else.
He is actually he's not staying inside campus.
Oh,
hours. So just by 7:15, our session got over. So he has to travel for half
Okay.
an hour and then he'll reach and then he'll join. That's what he told.
Okay, cool, cool. No problem. So now, since my package is installed, if you look at assets, you will
I'm
see start.
having a weird kind of error.
What is that?
Like my import package option is disabled. I'm unable to import assets.
Just restart Unity. You have go to your hub. Did you see this connected? The project you are working on,
It says connected.
and the project is open. Maybe
Project is open.
what you can do is you can go to assets, and there is a option to re-import all assets. Where do you see that? Assets, sorry. You can do re-import all. So to re-import everything, it might take some time, but it's kind of a refresh. Or I can just try closing and opening the project again. So you are saying this
Okay.
option is disabled, right? Import package, custom package.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, this is actually strange. Try restarting once or maybe re-importing all. So I think re-importing all will take more time than just restarting the project. So you can try restarting first, then re-importing if it doesn't work. Or else
Okay.
now
I'll
you can
try
make a
that.
new project, right? Uh, so this happens with Unity. This is what they're trying to fix. Okay, so now we were here. I am in the driving surface manager, the new empty game object that I created. I added a script called AR plane manager, and this is dependent on this script. So it already added this another XR version script onto it. So now I want to attach what kind of plane prefab or what kind of plane should appear on a detected plane on the actual world. So for that, I'll go here. I'll select assets. I'll choose driving surface plane manager. Sorry, driving surface plane. It's a prefab. So, or you can see at starter package, you will see it is here, driving surface manager. Okay. So now it is selected. Then I think detection mode. This is the plane detection mode. So we can do it just to horizontal, basically vertical, and I'll choose horizontal because I just want to drive my car on a horizontal surface. But it'll be crazy to see if you want to make the whole house, and you should be able to drive the car to any of the planes, say vertical, horizontal, or inverted horizontal, like your roof. Okay, that could be your project or a homework, right? So now what I want to do is on top of this. So suppose if you want to build your project at this particular state, what we'll be seeing is if you point your camera to the floor and just wave it around for say 5 or 6 seconds, it will start detecting planes and overlaying this the texture, the driving surface plane texture on top of it. So you want to just explore how does it look like. This is how it looks like. So let me just turn off the gizmos. So basically, it's just a texture which will be applied on runtime. So the dust material. See, dust material is this thing. This is what we see on our when we spawn the plane, right? So this is which gets overlaid on the plane, right? So I'll select this, and next thing I want to do is once I have my plane ready, I want to attach this raycast manager so that I can tap on the screen and it can do something when once I tap on the screen. So here only in this driving service manager, I'll add a component called AR raycast manager. Raycast manager. Okay. Now on the same thing, I actually want to attach now a component called driving surface manager, right? So I just add driving surface manager because it is also part of this particular script. I think this one. If I just remove the size, driving surface manager it comes with the package I just imported. So I can just add component driving surface manager if you search, and if I click, it will highlight this thing only. So now this thing is attached. So I think that's it because all these references are being taken in the runtime. So let's just quickly go through the script and try to understand what they are doing what the scripts are doing at a very high level, right? So first of all, AR Plane Manager is a default script that comes with your AR foundations, and AR Raycast Manager also comes with your AR foundation package. So basically, it is responsible for casting rays and then instantiating something. So it's more a kind of a utility script. You can add your raycast and then remove some raycast. You can fetch the prefab that you want to spawn if you get if the raycast hits some virtual object, right? Next, let's look at the driving surface manager script. So basically, it is getting the reference. It is creating these three variables of like plane manager, raycast manager, AR plane. All three are visible here: plane manager, raycast manager, and logged plane, right? Which is an AR plane. So this is responsible for fetching the plane when it's get detected. Raycast manager is used to trigger or detect the point on where to spawn my car, and AR plane is basically once we have a plane defined, so only that plane I want to use for driving. Any new plane which comes up, if it is the part of the same plane, then only I will be using it. Otherwise, I'll just discard that. Okay, so basically, it will just get a component of AR plane, right? Then basically whatever if it is not part of my current plane, right? In the trackable, so plane manager, we have something called trackables, basically small sections of plane that keeps on detecting. So if it is not the part of the current plane, I'm just deactivating that, or the script is actually deactivating that, and we are assigning the current or the this particular plane to my as my setting it as my logged plane. Okay, and then in the start I'm getting the component AR manager because it is already added here. So basically once I click on start, so this particular game object will get the reference of AR plane manager and then use it to detect the planes, right? And disable the new planes basically. So basically if new planes comes, once my active plane logged plane is already working, then you don't use the new planes. So it's just a small script. Then I think this should be enough for now. What I want to do is let's just try this out quickly. So maybe let me just save this first so that what we able to see, we should see the plane and the uh, texture being overlaid on that plane, right? So let me just go to my build settings. So I'm now a developer. I'll go to developer settings, enable USB debugging, or maybe we can skip that as well. It will anyway take some time. We can just build it at the last at once. Okay. So I'm in developer options and I'm enabling USB debugging. Next. So now I'm moving on to the step 4 in the documentation. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to perform a hit test, which I so basically this is just a prefab, right? Some game object which is kind of acting as a visual cue for the user where if he moves his phone around the reticle, or we call it reticle, any target or anything which is kind of a highlight for a game object, you can call it a reticle. Okay, so we want to spawn this at the center of the screen phone only when there is a detected plane and the floor is there, the prefab is there, the planes are detected, and top of it I want to spawn this particular game object. And how we are doing it, this is my phone, casting a virtual ray or a line from the center of my camera to the ground. If it is hitting, if this plane is detected and the hit is returning something, okay, yeah, a virtual plane with some ID is detected, this is how plane detection works, then I spawn this particular reticle. Otherwise I keep looking for the plane, keep looking, searching for the plane, right? So now what I want to do is, so I want to add the reticle prefab. So reticle prefab is in the starter package, reticle prefab. Okay, just let's go. This is what it looks like, and it has a circle. It has one more circle. It has a sphere at the center, and that's it. And it has some materials on top of it. That is it, right? So this is the prefab. I want to drag and drop into my scene. Reticle prefab. I'll drag and drop into my scene. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I want to attach some sort of behavior on top of it, which is already defined as reticle behavior. So I just add component reticle behavior, and I can attach a script. Okay, and let's select. Uh, just make sure reticle is selected because whatever changes you want to do is should be made to the reticle prefab thing. So now if you see this particular script, it requires these three things. Child, I think, is handled by the script in runtime, but driving surface manager needs reference. So what I can do is either I can drag and drop this driving surface manager from my hierarchy to this, or other ways to just select scene and select this same thing, because I want to see because I want to give it a reference of the driving surface manager component or game object which is present in my scene, not the script. I should not drag and drop this thing over here. It wants a reference of the game object. Okay. Now what I want to do, let's go to this script. Let's open it. I want to make some changes over here, right? And so I want to get the center of my phone or my screen, right? So to do that in the update function, it is already there in the script, right? I'm just following this. So basically, I want to get the center. What is the viewport to screen point, and you get a center of that. Okay, so I'll just copy this and paste it over here in the update function. So basically, I'm creating a variable of type var. Var is like when you don't know what type of variable it is, you can define it as var. Var screen center. It's basically in the go to the camera. It should be the main camera. Go to the viewport to the scene point to the screen point. So basically, there is a viewport right in the camera. If you see to Unity, I think in the main camera we have seen there is this. Okay, I should turn on the gizmos. So this is my viewport. You see now this viewport, when you this is just a viewport in the editor window, but when it comes to the device and what kind of uh, what is the visual angle, or what are the actual real world scene that the camera viewport is capturing, I want to go to its center, maybe somewhere here, right? So it is doing that. It is getting the center of my screen. Okay, now I want to conduct a raycast test. So what I can do is I can just quickly copy paste this thing, and so basically where heads, I'm creating a variable of type where hits. It is again going to be a list of type AR raycast hit. So basically, if I do a hit test, it returns me something of type AR raycast, and it is going to return multiple things. Suppose there, if you point it to your to a real world, there could be multiple planes which get detected at the same time. So if your ray can hit like two planes, one plane at the top, one plane behind the other plane, right? This might happen, and this will happen. So that's why I'm storing all of that in a list of items, and the items are of type raycast hit. And what I'm doing is I'm using the driving surface manager dot raycast manager, because if you look at driving surface manager has a component of type raycast manager. I'm accessing that. So and doing a raycast from my screen center to from a to from my screen center. So basically, wherever my screen center is, you draw a straight line from there and let it hit, and it should return whatever it returns should be stored in the variable called hits. So if you just hover over it, it is kind of a raycast manager. It needs a screen point. It needs a list of AR raycast hit to store the results, and what are the trackables that you want to track. There are multiple types of trackables. You can maybe just if I do an F12, yeah. So trackables are like say plane within polygon, play within bounds, play with infinity. So you can detect a plane which is unbounded, right? So only say the lower half is having a boundary, the other half or the farther end does not have a boundary yet. So you don't want that, because how will you spawn a prefab on top of it? Okay, so there are different types of trackables which you can use. Okay, so I'll just go back. So basically, in use the driving surface manager, go to the raycast manager, do a raycast, and from which point, from my screen center which I got over here, and store the return or whatever you return, whatever the hits you get, you store in this variable. And I want to track you objects of type plane within bounds. So basically, a plane which has all the boundaries. So if you remember the yesterday's demo, when I start the application, I spawn, I see a black boundary around the planes. So only those are being tracked. I'm not. There are multiple other planes that might be getting tracked, but I'm not visualizing those. I'm not adding my prefab to those. Okay. So this is it. Once I have this, I have the hits over here. Next thing I want to do is So what I want to do is I want to just get the very first plane. Suppose there are like 3 planes behind each other. So I want to drive my car on the plane which is on the top towards the camera, right? Because if I drive my car on the plane which is beneath the other plane, then I will not be able to see my car, or there might be some issues. So for that, I am handling this. Okay. And this is like the very first error that was there in the code itself. Okay, so hits dot length. Hits is a list. List does not have a length. It has a count. So that's just replaces this count. Okay. So I'm defining a variable. Current plane is null. Then if my here check raycast hit. If raycast hit is there, then you store it in hit. Otherwise, the hit remains null. Okay. And if the hit dot count is greater than 0, basically my hit the list of AR raycast hit has some items in it more than 0. Then what I'll do, I will create a new variable called log plane, and it should be is equal to driving surface manager dot log plane. So if you look at driving surface manager, we had something called log plane. It is basically the plane which gets detected, and it is the active current plane. Okay, so I'm just storing it here. Otherwise, hit is equal to log plane is equal to null if hits dot zero uh, is if there is nothing in hits dot zero. So because hits it's going to be a list. So if the very first item has nothing, then you set everything to null. Otherwise, you get hits dot single or default and get the plane which is the very first plane which got hit. Okay. So basically this piece of code, what it is doing, it is storing the value of the plane which is getting tracked, the very first plane. If it is nothing, then it keeps on searching because it is running an update function. Otherwise, the logged plane is equal to the single or default plane. Okay, if you just go here, this is like T source single or default, and if I want to check its references, I think it is just a interface that needs to be implemented. Resource, where was it? I'll just go back and click on this one. So it's just an interface. This I enumerable and bool predicate. Okay. So for either use the very first plane, otherwise use the log plane if it is there. So basically, we are doing the hit test at every update function so that I get the very latest newest plane which is on the top, uh, or I am getting using a stable plane which gets detected using the plane manager. Okay, you can explore these scripts in detail. Let me just save it for now. Why it is like this? I can do shift tab and shift tab. Yeah, everything is closed properly. Now if my hit has a value, I want to transform my game object to this particular hit position. So basically what I want to do is, in my scene, this is part of the reticle prefab. I am editing the reticle behavior script. Okay, it is taking time to. So basically I want to move the reticle prefab to the point at which my raycast hits the plane. So if you remember the demo, let me just quickly bring this up. Right, so I want this prefab to be positioned at the center of the screen all the time. So basically at every update function, I'm testing if there is a plane, I do a raycast hit. If the raycast is hitting, if there are multiple planes, I'm choosing the very first plane, or my raycast is hitting any plane which was detected earlier by the driving plane manager. So you choose that plane. So basically, if I move my phone suddenly to a new area, it will do a detection of a newer plane, get the very first plane from the list of planes, do a ray cast hit test over there, and if it hits the plane, it will position the reticle over there, right? Or if I'm pointing to an older area which was like scanned before it is the plane is already defined, then I'm using the logged plane by default. So whatever area it is getting scanned, it keeps on adding to the logged plane because it is already defined. I need not to do perform any newer applications on a predefined or a pre-detected plane, right? So this complete script is taking care of detecting the plane, doing a raycast hit on top of the plane. If the raycast hit is returning me a hit, basically it is hitting the virtual plane. Then I want to overlay my reticle prefab or at that particular position, right? So I'll just go back to Unity and we are editing this particular script. So I go back to reticle behavior and I will just add the next component, which is positioning my. So I'll just copy and paste below this. And of course, I'll just shift this. So basically, if it has a value, uh, right, if this thing has a value, then my current plane is equal to the get the plane hit value trackable ID. So whatever is written by hit, if it is an actual virtual object, it will always have id. So any trackable will have id. So basically get the plane where my ray hit on the plane, right? And so this thing gets the plane, and what I want to do is I want to transform this reticle, because this whole thing is, this script is attached to this particular game object. So transform dot position will mean the position of this reticle. So move this reticle to the hit dot value dot pose dot position. So basically where my object hit on this object at this point, because this is the point where my ray is hitting, you transform the prefab to this particular position at every frame, because this whole script is running on update function. Okay, this thing is sorted. Child dot set active true. Child, child, get child 0. Yeah, get child 0, transformer get child. Yeah, so prefab get child 0 model export. Yeah, so basically the get child 0 means uh, in the reticle prefab, it will access this thing and it will start spawning, because it has these features. No, model export. I think this is made in some other modeling tool, and it requires some sort of spawning. Okay. So yeah, basically what it means that access this and make it visible whenever this thing is done. Child.selective current plane is not equal to null. So basically make the visibility of the reticle as per, if the current plane is null, that means you don't want to see the reticle. If current plane is active, you have a plane functional in the scene, then you make the prefab visuals active. So active means like turning the visual on and off, like on a high level. This thing, I'll just move it back and this thing should come here. Yeah, fine. Let me just save it and we can quickly test if this is working. Before that, let's add the car. So now I can detect my planes. Theoretically, we're not tested it yet. Theoretically, we can detect planes. We can do a raycast state. We can put up a prefab or a reticle on my ground or on the plane. Now I want to add a car manager, which is responsible for spawning my car. So I create an empty game object. Let's call it car manager. And on this, I want to add, let's say, car manager, or as per documentation, call it car spawner. Otherwise, you get confused with the game object name and the car spawner. And I can add a component called car manager, which is part of the this package which we installed, which we imported, right? And the car manager, there are multiple dependencies. So I want to select for the car prefab. I want to select the car prefab from the asset that I imported. Okay, so car prefab, I can drag and drop over here, or I can directly just choose car prefab from this list in the assets. Next is the reticle. For the reticle, I want to just drag and drop from my scene. Okay, so I can drag and drop from here, or I can just do this in my scene, select reticle prefab. Now driving surface manager, I can select it from the scene, right? So I'll just go to say scene, driving surface manager, already done, right? So this thing, car manager depends on the script called car behavior. So let me just explore this script first. Quickly, we'll go through car manager. It has these three objects. It is using the class called car behavior, calling it car. Let's look at car behavior. I'll do control click. This is the car behavior. So basically, tracking position. I'm creating a new variable called tracking position. It is tracking the position of the reticle dot transform dot position. And reticle behavior, reticle is of type the script reticle behavior that we just defined. If vector 3 dot distance tracking position transform is less than 0.1, return. So basically, it is finding the distance between the tracking position and the transform position of its own. So basically, it is tracking where the reticle is, and because this is for my car, I want my car to follow the reticle. So basically, if there's a difference, this is a threshold. So if my distance between my car and the reticle is less than 0.1, then you do nothing. Otherwise, you keep going ahead. Okay. So look rotation, we are basically going to turn the car. So I am creating a variable called look rotation, which is responsible for quaternion. I'm just turning my car to look at this particular vector, which is say tracking position minus the transform dot position. So basically, wherever my reticle is and where am I currently. From there, uh, I am saying the angle I need to turn. Then I am transforming my car. The rotation is I am doing a lur. So basically linear interpolation. So I'm not quickly suddenly moving. I'm just slowly following. If you see the video, my car is slowly following the reticle. It's not like abrupt spawning at the reticle position, right? So I'm turning. So basically, it should be in one line, right? And this should also be in one line to make it more understandable. Okay, right. So basically, transform the car rotation by this angle using a lerp method, not like a sudden rotation. And the position should be moved towards. Move towards is the default function, which like slowly calculates the position between the points affected specified by current and target, moving no further than the distance specified at the max distance delta. So basically, it is a predefined function which is kind of doing the same thing as you did for the tank in the very first unit. If I press forward, you transform dot translate in the forward direction. So it has some predefined. So from this position, go to this position, the speed should be this one, dot delta time. That's it. So it looks like as if my car is actually following in a uh, more realistic way, right? On trigger, basically this is for the collecting the package. So just if the package, if the other game object is a package, if it is not null, then destroy the other object. This we have seen. So this is like the collecting the package behavior. Okay. So now let's just go back. This we have explored the car, how the car behavior is working. So now I want to add this car behavior now. So now car manager is done, driving reticle is done. I think we are almost done. Now we can actually try. So we should see the plane, we should see the reticle, we should see the car. When I tap on the car will follow the reticle if I move my phone. If you want to test, you can test it now. But let's finish the game, then only we can test. It is better. We'll spend only once. So now I want to do a package manager because I want to add some packages. So I create an empty object. I'll call it package spawner so that I have something to play around. Package spawner. I'll add what? I'll add a component called package spawner, and I'll set up the prefab. Mm-hmm. Assets goes the package prefab. Driving surface manager. Just choose it. Driving surface manager, and the package should be package. It should be from the part of the assets. I'll select package prefab. It is not there in assets. How? Package prefab. It is there. We should be able to find it. But okay, capital P. Still not okay in the assets. Okay. It should come up here, no? Why it is not coming? It is there. Package prefab. Spelling is also correct. Let me just. I don't want to drag and drop assets. Select package behavior. This is package behavior. So I can just package prefab. I can drag and drop over here. Yeah, it is doing that. Sorry. We have to do here. If I search, because it is just the script, I will have to do it here in the assets. If I select package behavior, package prefab, yeah, package prefab, this is fine, and I have to leave the this thing we have to leave as it is. We do not need to because the script is taking this reference in the runtime. Okay, now this should work. Let me just save it quickly and deploy it to test if it is working. But before that, let me just I can join the meeting once I am deploying. So I'll just go Go to build settings, everything is fine. I'll select the add open scenes, already selected. My phone is selected. Let me refresh. Yeah, it is selected. I'll select build and run. I'll select build one car. Let's save it. And meanwhile, I join the meeting from my phone as well. Okay, so my phone is connected, and once, yeah, there was echo. So if this runs, our game is done, and we can stop today. You can try the face filter thing at home. It requires no code. It is just drag and drop it, different prefabs. Uh, and tomorrow or day after tomorrow we start with actual MetaQuest packages and XRIT or Open XR Interaction Toolkit. So the idea is once you add this AR session and XR origin, the mobile AR thing, then whatever you add in the scene, whatever behavior you define, everything is going to work pretty much the same way, but it will be spawned in the scene. So if you want to work with your real environment, then you have to go through this AR planes. Then there are a lot of other things as well. AR plane, then AR point cloud, then you have to do raycast hit, what some other kind of trackable that you want to see. You can check those out. Okay, and use those tracked image, AR tracked object, then AR human body feature is also there. I don't know if it is both for the body and the body skeleton. See, so there are multiple things. If you go back, these are things AR anchor, and now you have geospatial anchors as well. So you can actually use your GPS or Google Maps location to tie an AR experience to that particular location. So suppose you have placed a sphere or a cube or something in a building in your campus somewhere. Only if you go with your phone there with the app open, once you reach that location, you will see that AR experience. So you can play some hide and seek things in AR where you have to, just like Pokemon Go. So you have to take your phone, go to a specific location, and to find out what's there, what AR experience is there. It should finish anytime soon. If you are trying something, let me know if you are facing any issues. Okay, it is done building or not. It is almost done. Almost done is going to show. So maybe just quickly do a recap so that all of us. So this is what we want to build, right? And we started with this AR configuration. We installed packages. Mainly, we installed AR Foundation. Then we installed this uh, Google XR plugin, Google Core XR plugin, right? Then I opened, so I created a new project, URB project, switched platform to Android or iOS depending on my target device, right? And then I added these two things, AR session and AR session origin. Instead of this, I added XR origin, like mobile AR. this is the latest thing. This thing is like pretty old, so it is using this AR session origin. Okay, then we set up this rendering pipeline. We did it because it was by default added for us. Previously, we used to do some configuration for setting it up. Okay, once it was done, we started with detecting the planes. So for plane detection, what we did, we created an empty game object. We added a, my unity is visible not. So we added a new empty game object and attached a AR plane manager on top of it, right? And in the AR plane manager, we added a prefab called driving surface plane, which came as the part of the package that we imported, right? Then what we did, we added a raycast manager component to do a raycast hit test on the floor or on the plane if it gets detected to get the center of the plane. So we had this thing. We, this we did not do, but up to step 3, you should see a plane getting detected. Okay. Next, what we did, we performed a hit test. We placed a prefab. We call it reticle, just like a marker at the center of the screen. So we added an empty game object. We added a reticle prefab onto my hierarchy. There we added this component reticle behavior. It is already a reticle behavior is what defines how my reticle should behave in the game. Okay, how it should behave? It should actually identify the planes. So it is using the driving surface manager to get the plane working, and we are finding the screen center, now recasting a hit from there, and then assigning the current plane to my hit. So my apps started running, and let me just share the screen. Let's just pause for a while. So you should be able to see my screen, right? So now, if see my, yeah, plane started getting detected. Okay, and the logged plane is the plane where I think I already, my reticle prefab is not visible somehow. I click here. Okay, my reticle prefab. I can see the, okay, my reticle is here. Let me just start the app again. Let me start the what it should call ARF bar. I should have named something else. So it should start getting the planes. Yeah, now it's trying to detect, right? Okay, yeah. So this will not work now. Let me just stop sharing my screen. Stop sharing, and I'll share from here now. So there is a small edit that I have to do to fix an issue. There is a known issue. So let me just share that screen. Entire screen. Yeah. So if you go back to this, there is a issue over here, right? So let me just quickly copy this one and open it for you guys so you can see. I hope you are able to see my screen. So currently what I see is my plane is getting reticle, but my reticle is getting fixed. So it's a known issue. If I go over here, we should see uh, the same thing. It happened, but yeah. So I have to just provide a reference in the driving surface manager. That's it. This was missing. So the script is almost correct, but we are not getting the reference of this thing, plane manager, in the start function. So if I go back, driving surface manager. So if you see, we are using plane manager, but that is fine. But raycast manager, I'm not getting the con. So it is not able to find out the raycast where it is, and so it is not able to overlay the reticle on top of the ground or top of the floor. So just this we have to add in the void start method, right? So if I just click paste, and I'm using this in my, right. So yeah, so we are defining it, we are using it, but we are not getting its reference with that we should capture in the very start. So that's the only thing. So if I now go back to my project and just build it again, So let me just go back to the script again to show what. So this thing was not there before. So in during start, I'm not getting a reference to basically use the AR Raycast Manager, which is already attached to it as a component. So if I go back to Unity, if you look at the driving surface manager, there is a component we only attached, right? But we are using it in some other script just by defining it, but we are not pointing it to an actual active game object of which this thing is a part of. So this means I have defined a variable Raycast manager. It understood, yeah, this thing is a Raycast manager, but to actually use it in action, it should point to an actual active game object which has this component attached. So basically, I'm getting this component now. That was the main issue. So if I build it now, I should see everything working fine. So if I go to now build settings, this is the scene. I can now build and run. Choose the same thing again, or maybe let's call it two. Build two car. Save. And it should start working. It should take less time now. Let's wait for it to finish building. Then I can show it from my phone. We still have 4 people. That's great. So any of you trying alongside with me, or maybe we will try it tomorrow on Gandhiji's birthday? So maybe if you try this thing on your own, you might face some issues, like mainly this issue only, because this was pretty old. It uses Unity 2020. So if you see this one, and the AR core services are also pretty old. So it's done now. So I'll just share share screen. Start now. So you should see my screen. Yeah. So I just put this app. Then it should detect the plane, and once it has the plane, then it should put the reticle on top of that. Yeah, see, now it is on the floor. So while the time it is looking for a plane, there is no reticle. As soon as it gets a plane, it does a hit test in real time, and if it hits a plane, it will put the reticle on top of that. Okay. So see, on the left hand side plane, you see a shadow that is below the other plane. Now we have, now see, this plane is below this plane, because if it is on the plane, I don't see the shadow, and this plane I see a shadow below. Okay, now that plane is gone. So that's why you take multiple planes. Now it is done. If I tap on screen, I should see my car, and it is following and turning properly. Okay, now you can take it to the, yeah, right. Okay, okay, okay. Yes, nice. So you can actually use this platform to build any other experiences that you want to make. Right. Okay. Cool. So this is it. We are done. If you have any questions, you can ask, or we can just. Where is the meeting? This meeting. Stop sharing. Okay, so we build this. There is just one small thing left, which is just doing this lighting thing, setup lighting estimation. So I think you should be able to do it on your own. This is just some setting some parameters in your light estimation in the hierarchy. Add the script. So basically, it will behave as per the actual lighting in your ambient lighting in the room. So to enhance your AR experience. So this is something you can try on your own. I don't want to bore you any further. We have already had a long day. So if you have any doubts, we can discuss. Otherwise, happy Gandhi Jayanti, and I'll see you on Thursday. We just have one more day then. Oh my God, I thought 2 more days. So let's try to cover as much as we can on the Thursday. on Thursday only. Okay,
Yeah.
guys, Professor Gautam, cool, no?
Cool, Vinay. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and maybe I'll get some time tomorrow. I can look at the projects.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Okay, then. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. Have a nice holiday tomorrow. Good night.
Good night. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.